here, man? We're supposed to be getting going here. Andrew.
Sorry.
Well, once again, I'm ready. You're not.
I know, it happens. I just wanted to make sure I was properly protected because of COVID-19. It's important to wear a mask, right?
It is, but we both got tested and we both came back negative.
That's true. That's actually a true fact. We did get tested, and
we did.
I happen to have I got the sniffles one day, had a bit of a tickle in my throat, and I'm like, shit, I better get a test, and
Yeah, we decided to go get it done, doing our part to make sure that, hey, we're not helping spread COVID.
Spread something, yeah, exactly. And it was really, felt like almost nothing. It's not something I would have gone to a doctor for or anything like that. Give me a second, I'm just going to take this off because we're inside right now and we don't need to use those. But yeah, it's something to be mindful of, and I think wearing masks outside is really important. But yeah, we got tested, we're negative, so we're all good to go. Welcome everybody to our second episode here of the Get Your Game On podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Chris. How's it going, guys? And girls, or whatever your gender is.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody.
Hello there, everybody. We're glad that you're tuning in. This is our second episode here. We're really stoked about this new series that we've started. And we've got some big news again this week. Not really any sports that are happening yet. Not yet.
Soon.
There's a NASCAR race, I think, coming up. And we'll talk about a NASCAR driver there a little bit later.
Yeah.
A little bit later in the episode. But big news out of the NHL, Chris.
Yeah, they've announced the basically start date for Phase 3. Phase 2 has started. Teams are allowed to go to the facilities. Actually, the Calgary Flames had a small group today on Friday, June 12th. Dates are getting lost right now with quarantine. True. Like, it's like it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't know. But yeah, I guess there was a small group that got together and they practiced, and the Flames are getting ready for this 24-game team tournament style Stanley Cup championship.
Yeah, it's going to be...
I don't know if they have an official name for it, but...
Well, some people have called it all playoffs. Some people have called it, at least the first round for the kind of the outlier teams, a play-in.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to, win that series in order to advance, whereas the top 4 teams of each conference are just playing for seeding in their tournament. So whatever you want to call it, it's going to be a playoff-style tournament. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. Calgary Flames matched up against the Winnipeg Jets, and they were saying July 10th is when of course, the training camps training camps are scheduled to start. Knock on wood. There's wood underneath here, underneath a lovely flamingo tablecloth. If you haven't noticed it for the last couple of episodes there. I just realized after we filmed the first episode, I still had that on there, and
that's cute.
It's it's summer. It makes it feel tropical here in my apartment. Anyway,
back on track. Oh, we kind of go off on tangents. You think we go on tangents on the show? You should see when we're just chatting.
You should see us in person.
Yeah, it gets interesting.
It gets to be something.
But yeah, so the NHL is going to be coming back. It looks like. I know they haven't figured out the hub cities yet. They're still working on all the logistics and all of that, and I'm sure the NHL will get that all figured out soon, because if they're going to open any training camps, like the Canadian teams probably are going to have training camps in the States due to the quarantine rules and stuff. So it's not like fans can attend the training camps anyway. Yeah. So whether the Flames have their training camp down at the Saddle Dome or Winsport here in Calgary, or they have it in Seattle, who cares?
Or anywhere, or Las Vegas. I mean, that's one of the cities that's been kind of tossed about as a potential hub city for the Western Conference. I think that they probably will have at least one Canadian hub city just to have that representation. But you never know.
I know that is the goal, and that would be for whatever city gets it. Like, that'd be really cool for the city. Mm-hmm. I was actually listening to the Fan 960 earlier today, and they were talking about what's the big deal about being the hub city? And they're like, well, it's kind of like if you got picked for the Olympics in a way. It's something that's unique, and you can be like, man, my city got that. Now, unfortunately, here in Calgary, we're not going to get that because any of you who've been to the Saddle Dome know why.
I mean, the Saddle Dome, you know, she's a good old girl, but her time has kind of come and gone. And, you know, I always like to, you know, make fun of Edmonton. You know, they're our rivals. You know, not just with sports, but with anything here in Alberta, Calgary, and Edmonton. Really like to butt heads. But I've got to say, I was at Rogers. Was it Rogers Place?
I think that's what they call it. Yeah.
Rogers Place, the arena in Edmonton, last September for a concert, not for a hockey game. Elton John concert. Amazing show, by the way. But just
talking about it since.
Just as amazing was the arena. It just blew me away. It really put the Saddle Dome to shame, and I hate to say that about, you know, my own city's infrastructure. But man, what a difference! And you know, when we do get a new barn here in Calgary, I know it's going to be just as good or maybe better. But for right now, the Saddle Dome just doesn't measure up in terms of hosting something like that. But Edmonton is in the running, and for what it's worth, I hope that they get it.
Yeah, I do too. They've got the ice district where that arena is located it's a really cool area, and you know, it's got everything they'll need to do it. So I hope they get it, because it'd be good to see a Canadian team get it. And really, yeah, like you say, we make fun of Edmonton and stuff, but that would help Edmonton's economy, because those hotels and the restaurants that the NHL would be paying for everything, like everyone knows in Alberta right now times are tough.
Yeah,
times are tough everywhere, but
that's right. You know, particularly in Alberta, it's not an economic show or a political show, but that's right. You know, we are a Calgary-based show, an Alberta-based show, and it definitely is something that it's heading a little bit harder just due to the mix of industry and the economy, I guess you might say. But it would be great for Edmonton to get that. Speaking of the NHL, though, some more NHL news out of Boston.
Yeah, I saw a report came out today on Sportsnet that one of the members of the Boston Bruins tested positive for COVID-19. Now, they have done two tests since, and those are both negative.
Okay.
But I guess we're going to see what happens now with if any of these professional athletes are testing positive, because that's always been one of my biggest questions.
Right.
Is any of these sports leagues that get back in there, what do they do if a player or multiple players test positive? Like using our beloved Calgary Flames, if the playoffs start and then 5 or 6 members of the Flames test positive, does that eliminate the Flames from the playoffs?
I mean, you know, I guess from a standpoint of, you know, the players and their abilities, I guess it depends on the players. But realistically, I think that they're all going to have to be quarantined, right?
Yeah, they will. They'll be in a bubble.
They'll all be in a bubble, probably the other team as well. So whether or not the healthy players could still play each other or not, I don't know. You know, that's I think a question for the league, and more importantly for the medical professionals to make that call. But yeah, I mean, that could certainly throw another wrench in what can always be a tumultuous playoff run. You know, you could have a Cinderella team go all the way, or you could have you know, the top dog just kind of roar all the way through and win the cup as expected. It's another kind of wrinkle that could throw things a little bit asway. It's not like somebody getting the flu or a cold or somebody getting injured.
Yeah.
That's one player out. This one person gets it, you're gonna get a few of them at least that are gonna get that.
Yeah, like they haven't released who the player was, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. There's no need, right? That's personal medical information. They can say it was a member of the team, and you know that just leaves it at that, just for the knowledge of the public. There's no need to say who it is.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the person who does have it, and we don't know if it's an actual player. They said a member of the Boston Bruins, so it could be a staff member. But whoever has it, they're asymptomatic. They're not showing any symptoms, so that's great news for them. And the negative test now, to me, that's just like cool. Maybe there was a flaw in the first test or something. It could have been. So I want to see all these athletes, no matter what league you're in. I want to see everybody actually stay healthy. Let's get through this and get to whatever our new normal life will be.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And speaking of getting back to a new normal, MLB, Major League Baseball.
Oh man, are they making a mess of things?
So they're in negotiations, the Players Association, and of course MLB owners and the commissioner and whatnot. They're in negotiations to see what it's going to look like in terms of the format of play and how many games and how much salary and whatnot. And the league, the MLB, had said that their final offer today for us to salvage a 72-game season, which is all that's believed that they could realistically make, is for 80% of the prorated salary. Not 80% of their full salary, but 80% of whatever their prorated per game salary would be for that.
They're losing money.
So they would be losing money on that. You know, I get it that the owners don't have the butts in the seats to fill the stands. They're not selling the caps and the merchandise and the hot dogs and the beer and all that. But I mean, Major League Baseball, you know, you've said it before, like with the NFL, you could play some of those games anyway. Some of the teams, New York Yankees, could play in a parking lot, and you televise that, and they're going to make money.
Oh, without a doubt. And I understand where the players are coming from, saying like, no, we want our 100% prorated. But I also do understand to a degree where the owners are coming from, like, because they're like, our revenue has been slashed. So they're trying to come through with a compromise, and I really hope they do. I enjoy baseball. You know, I would rather go to a live baseball game. Mm-hmm. Going out to the ballpark is just a great time.
Yeah.
Like I've gone down to Okotoks to watch the Dogs play, and it's a beautiful facility there. They have a great time the whole time going on, and I know
a great name for their facility as well. What's it called?
Siemens Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
But I've had a great time down there, and unfortunately their season actually has been canceled.
Yeah.
And speaking of seasons being canceled, Canada West, and you're seeing more CIS divisions come out that have canceled all fall sports.
That's right.
So that means there'll be no football,
no
soccer.
Vanier Cup.
Yeah, the Vanier Cup will not be played for this year, so our Calgary Dinos will maintain their championship for 2 seasons, I guess. It's hard though for those 5th-year athletes that this is their last crack at it. Like I know the University of Calgary women's soccer team, they finished 2nd last year, and they looked poised to take that step to win the national championship. And there's a lot of heartbroken players right now that just, because they're finishing school, and I know they go to school for schooling, they're not going for sports, but this is their last year, and this is probably the last time they may be able to play sports on such a high level.
Right.
And I just feel for them, but it's a sign of the times that they can't say, hey, we're going to have sports when we don't know if we're going to have students on campus.
It's the responsible call to make, at least right now, especially if there's going to be a potential resurgence that they think there might be in the fall and the winter. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But you never know. But yeah, that's a really good point to make. I mean, you know, there's the university and college sports that are affected by this just as much. High school sports, even just, you know, your beer league softball and whatnot. You know, there's going to be different rules for when that, if and when that comes back into play. You know, they've announced, actually as of today, a lot more things have started to open up. The city has lifted their state of emergency. So things are definitely looking up, but we still need to be vigilant, and we still need to take good care of ourselves and each other. Not just the MLB, not just the NHL returning to play. NBA we talked about last episode there.
Nothing new that I've seen coming out.
Nothing new there, but NFL. Now, of course, they have their schedule out. They have, you know, which team's going to play what, which team on which date. They haven't kind of ironed out how it's all going to look like in terms of, are there going to be any fans in the stands? How are they going to police that? You know, how are they going to say, you know, you have to stay 6 feet away from each other? You know, how is concessions going to work? Public washrooms going to work? Coming and going, you know, and that's just the fan aspect. You know, are they maybe going to play these games with a similar concept like the NBA out of Disney World, or with the NHL looking for hub cities? You know, I mean, there's a lot of variables there. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I think the NFL, it will go on. I think we're going to have an NFL season. What it's going to look like is the big question. I don't know if there'll be fans maybe to start the season, but I think by season's end there'll be fans in the stands, and I do believe that you're going to see teams play in their own buildings. the NFL travels once a week. They play once a week. So
Right.
for Seattle to go to New England for a Sunday game, then I don't see that being an issue. Now, the NFL could decide to make a change, especially if the NCAA doesn't play.
Right.
If the NCAA doesn't play college football on Saturdays, the NFL could look at expanding their schedule so they'll have Thursday night football, maybe a Saturday afternoon game, and then Sunday football and Monday night football, just to draw more viewership on whatever
Throughout the week.
on the television platforms. And I know that's just my speculation. I haven't heard that said by anyone.
Right.
But I'm just, why compete with yourself if you don't have to?
Right. I mean, it's our show. We can say what we want.
True enough.
But yeah, I'm really excited for sports to come back. Still want to make sure that everything is taken care of in terms of taking the proper precautions and everything. But it seems like they do have all of that underway. They're going to be tested very regularly. And speaking of tested, we talked about it at the start of the show. If you haven't had a COVID test, if you need one, by all means get one. But be prepared. It's not exactly a pleasant experience.
No.
That swab, it's not exactly a pleasant experience. You'll be fine though. If you need to get tested, get tested. If you feel you want to, just to make sure, by all means do. But that kind of covered the topics that we had today, Chris. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
Well, you'd mentioned the NASCAR driver.
Right.
I can't even think of his name. It's like Cicerelli or something. He drives in the truck series, and NASCAR years ago drivers would have the Confederate flag actually on their car and stuff. But NASCAR, I think it was around 2001. Don't quote me because I didn't do the full research on this like I probably should have. Mental note: I'll be better next time, guys. But NASCAR on any official NASCAR things said no Confederate flag. Now, this week they said fans will not even be allowed to fly the Confederate flag if they're camping on site or like if the Confederate
in the stands
and whatnot,
anything like that.
And this Ray Cicerelli.
Ray Cicerelli. Right now he is his rank is 51st in the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. So he is definitely a champion in his own mind.
Yeah, definitely in his own mind, because you have to think, I do believe in those truck series, they only allow 35 or maybe 40 trucks on the track during a race. So if you're ranked 51st, that means you're not qualifying for the race.
You're not even playing.
And he decided to come out and said because of this new rule, this Confederate flag rule, he was retiring. And I have to give NASCAR credit, because NASCAR's official Twitter tweeted back at him and said, "We had to Google you to find out who you were. Thank you for, not going for participation trophies anymore." I'm not quoting it directly.
Let's look it up here.
Andrew's typing it up here. I read that tweet, and the only thing I thought was, owned. NASCAR owned him. Because you know what? He's being stupid standing up for this, saying like, oh, well, you can't have the Confederate flag. You know what? Right move, NASCAR, by saying no to this kind of stuff. We don't need any hate or racist symbols.
Yeah, and any sort of symbols, any sort of representations of anything that represents bigotry or hate or anything like that. It has no place in society anymore. It never did. But it's certainly not acceptable now, and it's great to see that all these organizations are stepping up and saying, you know what, this is not acceptable. We will not allow this. And Ray, if you want to quit, then bye, Felicia. That's all I can say about that.
I hope you're mediocre at whatever else you do after racing, because obviously you were less than mediocre while you raced.
Anyway, I think that pretty much concludes our content for today. We hope you enjoyed the show, and please do hit that subscribe button at the bottom there, and follow us on social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's the Get Your Game On podcast, and we will be getting our website coming up really soon here.
We're working on it.
GetYourGameOnPodcast.com. Don't go there yet because there ain't shit to see. But we're working on that. We'll be working on it all weekend while we have some of these drinks.
Cheers, my friend. I hope you guys all have a great weekend because I know we're gonna.
We certainly are. All right, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.
And remember, get your game on.